Alrighty. I guess we don't have to clap or anything since you have
Oh,
that break in
really?
there.
I was
Or
gonna
we
snap.
can.
I was gonna
There you
snap like
go.
I'm apparating. Oh, I can't even use that for the hook now because I swore. I can't even bleep it out.
Hey
Hey,
everyone,
everyone.
and welcome to Why Are You Still Here? And I don't know, it's the show that we talk
Where we
about
talk about
whatever.
franchises
Yes.
all the
Yeah,
time.
we just go from one to the next and just go down the list until we get them all. And it's interesting because what brings us here today is a article that popped up on my Google homepage, Google feed, whatever. And it was talking about the fact that there was a scooper, which if you don't know, a scooper is somebody that usually has inside information
It's like
on
a leaker.
the goings on. And yeah, um in the film industry, or TV, film, whatever, you name it, anything, honestly, music, whatever that people care about. And there was a scoop that they are at Warner Brothers, or WBD, which is Warner Brothers Discovery. They are going to be rebooting the Harry Potter series. Nobody knows if it's going to be a TV show, which that's probably the way that they're going to go,
I hope
or if it's going to
so.
be another set of movies or whatever they're going to do. And if you have watched our show for any length of time, you know that we have been campaigning for this to happen for the entire time the show has been going on. So a little bit over a year. Um, and even before we had the show, we were talking about it, like we
Yeah.
want this to happen because even though, there's enjoyment that you can get out of the movies, they are so incredibly inaccurate when you compare them to the novels, that it's like
hmm
there probably should be a more accurate version created. And one of the big things that made me start really thinking about this was a series of unfortunate events for
Yep.
Netflix. So they had a movie, which we won't even get into that movie. Obviously, there's good parts about it, there's awful parts about it. Jim Carrey was great. But there was a movie that is almost nothing like those first three books.
hmm
They go rogue with it. And then there's a TV series that is, some might, say it's overly accurate
Hello,
to a
hello,
T,
hello,
except for the last
children.
episode, but we
Ugh.
won't get to that. So anyway, when that show was going and it was still going well, it was like, wow, I'm so surprised at how accurate this is, and it's so good. And so it's like, well, they could do this with Harry Potter, of course, and they probably should do this with Harry Potter. So it's like, okay, maybe we finally got what we always wanted. Harry Potter and the reboot of Fire. And all of a sudden, though, it's almost like you get what you've always been wishing for. It's like the monkey's paw. And then all of a sudden you start maybe regretting it a little bit. I'm not saying you, but me. And I started to think, well, there's so many great things about this, but then now it's starting to hit me now that it's becoming a reality. And I'm like, there's some bad things about this too that I didn't even think about until right now, because I didn't think that this was even really truly a possibility, because I thought we still had numerous years of the Fantastic Beasts movies to go. That series has officially come to a halt and ended two movies before it was supposed to.
Is
And
it
then I was like,
unofficial? Is it unofficially on hold right now?
it is officially
Oh,
done
so
right now.
so they're so this reboot thing probably is gonna happen then
Oh,
because
for sure. Yep.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
here's
So I thought that it might have
Strap
been.
into your Gringotts vault traveling carts because we're going down, baby.
Oh yeah. I thought that
And
maybe it
sugar, we're
was gonna
going down
be
swinging.
5 years in the future, 10 years in the future. Like it was gonna be at a point where it's like, it doesn't really matter anymore because we're so far removed from the previous series. But this one's coming up fast, I believe, because of that Fantastic Beast thing. The third Fantastic Beast movie is actually a really decent movie, but unfortunately the second one was so bad that nobody wanted to see
Hmm.
the third one, and the third one did not make really any money. So anyway, I think that we should talk about rather briefly because we don't know anything really specific about this other than the fact that it's almost certainly happening.
Yeah, so this is just pure speculation from
Yes,
yours truly at
and
this point.
it's not something that, has started even, maybe it's being written. I mean, that we wouldn't know about, but it hasn't been cast yet. It hasn't started filming yet, obviously. So we have some time. But maybe we should talk about some things, just a couple things that we're excited for that this could be a positive for, and then a few other things that, like I was saying at the beginning of this, that might not be so much fun for
Okay,
us.
I already know what I'm gonna say.
Okay, then take it away.
Positives. I mean, right off the bat, book accuracy. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
want. That's what everybody wants, right? The books are a completely different animal. And like I've told Brandon, I just recently last year was able to finally separate the two and really one's in one camp, one's in the other. If you tell me that Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire are your favorites, I already know that you have not read the books. So it
Yep.
is what it is. And that's a
Yep.
very consistent thing. And I don't know why. It's really weird. And like we've noticed this at work enough for it to
Yeah,
be a
it
thing.
just happened the other
Yeah,
day.
with
Yeah.
everybody, like everybody. So anyway, obviously there's that. Just seeing more content is cool. With how much we love the video game interpretation of Hogwarts too, and then lately Jim Kay's illustrated editions, it's really cool to see the same thing, only different. And
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that. I can't wait to see a new art style for it. I can't wait to be in anticipation for something Potter related again. It's just going to be fun, you know? But
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's going to come into, I think, the negatives. And I think our negatives and positives are pretty much going to be the same. And my negatives just come with number one is going to be recasting of certain people. It's going to be very hard to accept different versions. And number two, like we don't even know if for sure that this is going to be all seven. I was about to say all eight, but that's the movies, all seven books redone. This just might be certain aspects and time periods and different side stories with recasting of these characters. So
Mm-hmm.
and even then, it might not even just be TV, it could be a film series. So the uncertainty comes from recasting and I guess the medium that they're going to choose to use for it. That's just what I've been thinking.
Yep. Correct. Yeah, I feel the same way that the biggest positive, like you said, is book accuracy. I mean, it's the positive, and it's like everything almost, or so I thought, because we can finally have the ability to see, Neville's parents and what happened to just everybody. You know, uh, Obviously you go into St. Mungo's
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much of a story there. With, Gilderoy
That's a whole
Lockhart.
episode.
You could do a whole episode. Yep. 100%. And it's like people are gonna be like people. It's funny because it's gonna really weed out people that are only fans of the movies because they're probably not gonna like the show, and I kind of like that
Yeah.
because it's gonna push them away, and then we just have this, really accurate representation. Um, but yeah, I mean, you could spend just an entire season on, because that's the difference too between A Series of Unfortunate Events and Harry Potter, is that it's just, you can do a retelling of a book of a series of unfortunate events in an episode or two. And with Harry Potter, if it came to something like Order of the Phoenix, you would need
You would need.
probably an entire season,
Oh yeah.
which would be awesome. I mean, that would be just fantastic.
Well, that's
And
my,
then
like I said at work, that's my ultimate hope for it. Each book is a season of 8 to 10 episodes. I mean, okay,
I
you might
don't,
be pushing it
you
for the
can't
first
do that
three,
for the first three. Exactly.
but yeah.
That wouldn't be a possibility, I don't think. And I don't know how they would split that up. A lot of times first seasons of shows are shorter as like a proof of concept. Like The
Well, it
Walking
works perfect
Dead.
for Sorcerer's Stone. So
Yeah, exactly. Like The Walking Dead, its first season was 6 episodes, and then everything after that became, I think, 16
oh
episodes.
wow,
So
holy shit. Well,
yeah,
good for them
so
because that
it
show's popular as all hell.
so it's just like honestly, they could do the first book in the first season, make it 4 episodes or something, and then for the second season put obviously make it a full season of 10 episodes or whatever you want to make it, and then make it a retelling of Chamber of Secrets and then Prisoner of Azkaban. You could put that into one season. So yeah, it's there's definitely positives of it. Just positive you know, uh, accurate book retelling. And there was something else I had too, and it occurred to me when we were talking about a series of unfortunate events, and then um it just kind of I ended up forgetting it. But
Like usual.
you correct. You don't have to worry about changing out actors though, because you're going to be filming these things back to back to back to back.
Hmm.
And obviously these actors are already signed on to doing it because you'd have to get them into a contract where they can't leave it. So that means that now there's no recasting. So now there's more consistency than the movies have. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Maybe the other positive will come to me, but the negatives are interesting because negatives didn't even really occur to me until I this became a reality. Like I saw the article and I'm like, okay, well, I never looked at myself as being emotionally attached to those movies other than the first two.
Yeah.
I just never thought that or looked at it that way. But then it started to occur to me that I am in certain ways. So I'm not necessarily emotionally attached to Daniel Radcliffe as Harry. I like him as Harry. I just think that that could be done more accurately, especially when it comes to Order of the Phoenix. Because he's just really whiny in that movie. And then some other movies that he's drunk in. Not that you see that, but if you're dealing with somebody a little bit younger, maybe you wouldn't have to worry about that. Um, but yeah, but then again, I'm like, well, but I still think of Daniel Radcliffe. He's still synonymous with it, even though you could maybe get an actor that is a more accurate representation. That doesn't necessarily mean better. And then I'm like, okay, so it is going to be hard to accept a new Harry. Even for me, somebody that is not as invested. And then I'm like, well, it's going to be really hard to accept a new Hermione.
Me, books and cleverness are more important things.
The other thing I think of is Cedric Diggory. So, you can have it be the same actor from the very first book, the very first
Hmm.
season. Because is Cedric Diggory in the same year as them, or is
No,
he a
he's a
year
year
older?
above.
Okay. Doesn't matter. So he'd still be there from the first season and actually have him be there. And so when he actually ends up dying, spoiler alert, in the fourth season or whatever, you're gonna make it. It's gonna be more
Yeah, why
impactful.
don't you show one of the numerous many Quidditch games and conversations that they have, right? I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
they have arguments about whose book the Quidditch pitch when. People talk back and forth. Names get dropped that aren't
Yep.
just in the cast list in the corner in the credits or something. I don't know.
100%. So you keep it all the same actors. It makes it much more impactful, which is something I was thinking about, like something they should have done with the Batman is they should have introduced Harvey Dent. I've been saying this for a little while now, and that would have made it so eventually when Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face, you had an entire movie with Harvey Dent just as Harvey Dent, and so then it becomes more impactful when he actually gets acid thrown in his face. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So that kind of thing. Which, side note, also, if anybody's watching this and going, they're talking excitedly about the reboot of a series, but they shit all over the reboot of the DCEU, that's different, and you know it. Ron, who is somebody that we didn't mention, is that is, again, I love Rupert Grint, and it's not his fault, but that is an area where they could probably really improve, because that character, like you and I talked about the other day, he's one of the most inaccurate characters in the movies. They make him just like comedic relief, like honestly stupid.
And that's why when anybody says that they think Harry and Hermione should have been together and that Ginny should not have been, you haven't read the books. That's why you think that, because you're an idiot.
Agreed. It's something I never thought.
Well, and then
personally,
right in line with Ron, Ginny too. Ginny is a complete waste in all of the movies.
Such a waste. My God, such a waste. Yeah, so they can make that like a real relationship between her and Harry, like make it so we actually care. And I'm excited to see like Dumbledore being played by the same actor the whole time, and hopefully they go more in the Richard Harris category, and then we could finally see for the first time ever Dumbledore being the calm, methodical, soft-spoken guy that he is, and then we'll see the whole Goblet of Fire debacle happen the way it's supposed to happen, rather than him beating Harry in the face and screaming at him, like that's no good. Nobody wants that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. We could go on about this all day, of course, but the last thing I'll mention is something you mentioned as well. I'll just get a little bit more in depth about it, is the fact that there are the certain people, like I also mentioned a little bit as well, that I am emotionally attached to, and that is Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. I don't know if I could accept another Sirius Black. Maybe they go about him more accurate to the books, which is just him having black long hair,
and then he was kind of cool, like he had style. He might have worn an earring if I remember correctly.
Maybe. I don't know. Hey. Yeah, I don't know, but he is definitely scary. Like he comes across as scary initially, and then he comes across, of course, as warm and just like almost a father figure to Harry.
Oh, 100%.
And Gary Oldman is beautiful. Beautiful performance with that. Not so much the scary part, because again, it's not exactly like how it was in the books, but definitely with the fatherly figure, he's phenomenal with that. But so that, and then Alan Rickman, which they couldn't cast him now even if they wanted to, unfortunately. Alan Rickman as Snape, and then Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid. We'd have to accept a new Hagrid, we'd have to accept a new Snape. Those are the hardest ones for me to accept. Gilderoy Lockhart a little bit as well, even though he's only in one movie. But that would probably be easier, just because you get somebody who's like smarmy and that kind of thing, and maybe even play into that a little bit more or whatever. But yeah, those Snape, Hagrid, and Sirius would be interesting. Lupin, to a certain extent, I think David Thewlis was massively underutilized in those movies, to be honest with you. But a little bit with that as well. I'm emotionally attached a little bit to him. But Tonks, make Tonks accurate, focus on her for once in your life. but yeah, and it'd be interesting. Like, how do they go about the castle? Do they make it anything like how it is in the movies? Because there's no real explanation of the castle in the
I have a
book.
sneaking suspicion that they may take liberties from Hogwarts Legacy.
Could be.
Maybe there could be some overlap there in the creative departments of this new Warner Brothers acquisition. We can't say
Maybe.
acquisition. Warner Brothers shakeup, shall we say?
It's an acquisition. It was Discovery acquiring Warner Brothers.
Okay.
So it was the Discovery acquisition, you could call it. Because yeah, it wasn't a merger. It was an acquisition. Murders and executions mostly. What's that from, people?
Very good.
So yeah, but that's really all. Since we have no real information, that's
Yeah, this is purely just two
yeah,
fanboys of Harry Potter for the last 20 plus years, 21 years, maybe
correct.
20. God damn, the timeline's getting crazy. We're just getting old.
But anyway, so what do you guys out there think about this info? Are you excited about it? Are you not excited about it? Tell us some positives, some negatives. Is there anything that you thought about that we did not mention? I'm sure there is. That's still that one positive that came to me. I still can't think of what it is.
You will
But
right when we're done.
oh, I certainly will. And then I don't know, we could throw it at the bottom of the screen or something. In fancy Harry Potter font. Right here. Ah, that's what it was. See it, Lucas?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's what it
Oh,
was.
there it is.
Yep. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. Was there anything else that you wanted to say about this?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think I covered the bases.
Very good. Obviously we could just keep going and going, and we don't really
If
want
you
to
didn't
do
cut it
that.
off, I wasn't. Yeah, and
Yeah, usually you cut things off and I just keep going, but I figured,
Harry
you know
Potter. It's
what?
just there's something about it, man.
Something in the way. Here's my suggestion to them though. Make it the combined universe, right? Like a overlapping universe of Harry Potter and the
The
Christmas
Christmas
Pig.
pig. Because look, Harry's already on the cover.
Yeah, there he is. This Hispanic kid right here. It's Harry Potter. So yeah, this is a first edition, first printing of this book, and it's never going to be worth anything.
Very good.
Just like the Cursed Child.
Oh
But
God.
but yeah. Also, you know what? One final positive, besides the other one I can't remember yet. This opens up the, potentiality of doing other things like the Cursed Child. At some point, you get these people contractually obligated to do it, and they're going to do it whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? That's why you can't do it with the cast of the movies, because they don't want they're done. They don't want anything to do with Harry Potter. They've branched onto other things. You know what I mean? You'd have to throw an awful lot of money at them to get that to happen. So I'm just saying, not that that wouldn't be cool. It would be cool for sure. It would just be whatever. But yes. So whatever. That's it, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's it.
Let us know down below what you think about all this. And yeah. Bye everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Avada Kedavra.
Avada Kedavra.